Hey there, darlings. Welcome back to the Farmer's Stable. Today, we are making popsicles. I bought my first popsicle mold when my children were really small, and I realized that most of the popsicles that were available at the store had high fructose corn syrup in them, and the ones that didn't, that actually had high quality ingredients, were very expensive, and I have no idea how much they even cost now. Obviously way more than they did 15 years ago. I've actually come to really love making popsicles. I like getting adventurous and making all different kinds of flavors, using different things out of my garden. Today, we're gonna keep it kind of simple because it is strawberry season in South Carolina. Now my strawberries are just barely coming ripe right now in my garden. In another 3 weeks or so, I'll have quite a few and I won't buy any more. But I was very excited to see one of the local farms set up on the side of the road the other day whenever we went to the zoo. It's closer to the coast, so it's warmer there, so it's not surprising theirs are ahead of mine. And I stopped and I bought 2 flats of these lovely fresh strawberries. And today I'm just gonna make a simple strawberries and cream popsicle. If you are interested in some of my wackier popsicle recipes, or if you want to see or hear more of that, I would love to share it with you. Maybe I can do like a separate video dedicated to unusual popsicle flavors. To start, you don't have to buy anything special to do this recipe or any popsicle recipe, but popsicle molds are like really cheap now. You can get a pretty good one. I think that one like this runs somewhere in the range of like $10 to $12. I'll put a link to this exact one. This is silicone. It has 12 spaces in it, as you can see. I think that each popsicle is like 4 ounces or something like that. And then you just use popsicle sticks and stick it through the top here. I used to have one that had individual containers and the stick that went down into it was plastic. But I really like using reusable things as much as I possibly can. But where it makes sense, I do throw away things. And since popsicles are the kind of food that I want to hand my kids and say, go out into the wild and enjoy your popsicle outside on this nice warm day. The reusable stick thing, I just spent a lot of time looking for those things on our 27-acre farm. So I have switched over to using throwaway popsicle sticks, and you can buy a whole bunch of those and then just use the silicone mold. Another little gadget I'm using today is this strawberry huller. And I found this, I will link it as well. When it comes to cutting things, I'm not usually looking for shortcuts or things like that. I don't mind doing knife work, I like it. But this little gadget is actually extremely beneficial because it allows you to hull strawberries without wasting a bunch. You know, if you're cutting these with a knife, you're either gonna take a lot of time to cut out that middle, or you're gonna end up cutting the shoulders off. Especially if you're like processing lots of strawberries to make jam and stuff, that adds up and you end up losing a lot of your fruit. So I really like this, and it was like $4 or $5. Right now I am hulling, I want about 4 cups of strawberries. With this and all recipes, it's really gonna come down to like your mold sizes, how much you want to make. So you may need to tweak this a little bit, but I want to encourage you that you're not going to do it wrong. If you want to start making popsicles at home, if you're just wanting to avoid like corn syrup or ingredients or just save money, I mean, you can literally just get some juice and freeze it in popsicle molds. Like, that's totally a thing. And with this recipe, you can mix it up. You can do other fruit, you can do other berries. I'm gonna put Greek yogurt and honey in mine. You can use sugar, and you could put coconut milk in. You can make it non-dairy. You're just not gonna do it wrong. I've actually never once made a popsicle that we were like, oh, we don't like that. That tastes bad. If you are using more like watery things and you are using like clear juices and stuff like that, your popsicles may be icier, whereas obviously if you use more high fat ingredients, they're gonna be creamier. Like, I've got one recipe that's for like fudgesicles and has avocados in it, which gives that fatty consistency, and it's really good. Okay, 4 cups. These guys are going to the chickens because they get their cut and trade for all the eggs they give us. And since popsicle molds come in all different sizes, and especially like when I got a new one, I would mix up the recipes as I used to make them, but this one has just slightly different size slots, and there's 2 more in this one than my old one. And so I'd have to like add a little juice or something like that to even it out. So first thing, I'm gonna take a few of these strawberries out. Let's do like 4 or 5. And the rest of these are going in the blender. We're gonna blend them up. You can skip this step if anybody in your family is averse to texture, if you would prefer a smoother texture. I'm just gonna dice these into little bits so that there's chunks of fruit in my popsicles because we like that. Next, I've got about a 1/4 cup of honey here going in. You can use any sweetener that you want, or you can omit the sweetener if you don't want that. This is gonna also come down to just preference. These strawberries are fairly sweet because they are local and were picked very ripe, but it's not quite peak strawberry season yet, so they're not absolutely the most sweet. Sometimes when I get really, really sweet strawberries, especially the ones we grow out here, I don't even have to add any sweetener to it. And then I'm going to add about a cup or so of yogurt. This is plain yogurt. Another reason for the honey, because this is going to give us some cream and some tang, but I wanted to offset that with some sweetness. And then we're going to do just a little splash, like a teaspoon of vanilla. And then I'm going to do about a 1/4 cup of milk. You could do juice here if you wanted the extra sweetness. Orange juice is good in this, but I'm just going to do milk. It's going to add some more cream to it. So that's it. I'm just going to blend it till it's smooth. And then I'm going to dice these strawberries into like little bits. If my basil plants were established enough that I could have blended a handful of basil in with this, I totally would have done that, but they're all just getting started here in early spring and I don't want to kill any of them. getting greedy too early. I'll have to wait for basil season and make more popsicles when my strawberries come on. Now, before you start filling, taste your mixture, because now is when you would want to tweak it before you put it in there. That's good for me, but you know, if you want it to be a little sweeter, this is where you add more sweet. You can add lemon juice to this or lime juice to give it a little bright pop. When I put yogurt in, I don't usually do that. Herbs, as I mentioned, you can omit the cream factor and just do strawberries with juice if you just want like more straight popsicles, not creamsicles. But just taste it before you freeze it and tweak it if you want to. I'm going to carefully pour this in, not all the way full. And then I'm going to take my cut up bits and sprinkle them throughout. And just push these down some so they'll kind of be mixed throughout. They'll still kind of float up, but it's a little bit more mixed. Then the lid goes on and the popsicle sticks down. That's the one I just used to stir, is why it looks like that. Since this lid does not snap on, and since these are silicone so they could be pushed, I like to set them down in like a little glass container to put them in the freezer just to give them some stabilization, make sure nothing gets shoved against them. And they only take 4 hours later, so they're pretty well frozen solid. A lot of times I'll do them in the evening, so we'll have them the next day so that they can just get good and frozen overnight. I miscalculated a tiny bit here. Now, this is, for all intents and purposes, just a smoothie, so you could just drink this, but I'm gonna stick this and some of these diced strawberries in a jar and just put it in the fridge. And when those that I just made are frozen and we pull a couple of them out, because I'm sure my kids are gonna be chomping at the bit to eat those when they're done with chores today, I'll just use this to refill the slot. It's only about 4 ounces excess, so you could just cut back on the ingredients a little bit. This may have been just a little too heaping. That made it too much. Hey guys, it's actually been a couple of days. I've just pulled these out of the freezer. My kids got into them yesterday, so once they're done, you can see there's a few missing. What'd you guys think?
They're good.
They're good. But you just pull them out and we have these lovely popsicles with no yucky ingredients. Let me know, what do you like to make? If you want to hear more recipes like this, also let me know. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. God bless you. Until next time.